I think this is going to be a little too loud. I'm a shouter. Sometimes. All of this is, in effect, a result of the best laid plans. So, I should have been here around 9:30. Got here around 10:15. So you guys have had my brother, Reverend Jeff, to do meditation this morning, all because I tried a new path, a new adventure. So we'll get back to that because, that's apparently a part of today. But good morning, Rena. Thank you so much for the music. I was looking, it said the name of the I Surrender song, and it said Faith Rivera. And I was like, I know Faith Rivera. That's not Faith Rivera. That's Rena. Oh, I had to get that back. He's like, so thank you, Rena Cervantes, for the wonderful music this morning. Give her a hand. And so, thank you, Soul Center, as always, for welcoming me and allowing me to have this opportunity to be here with you, to be here before you. I've been going through all kinds of wonderful experiences, including this morning. Again, we'll get back to that. And I'm always excited when I have the opportunity to speak because I know that I'm not being asked to speak. I know that something is being asked to be done through me. And so we're going to try a little something different today. I've never done this with you guys. So we'll start it this way. When you're in agreement with something that somebody says, what do you usually do? What else? What else do you do?
Say yes. Yes.
Okay, so yes, you're not yes. So when you hear something that is just that thing, that's just like you know it, and you're not in a religious and spiritual place. Like maybe you're out with your girlfriends and somebody said something around the table, or you're out with the fellas and somebody said something around the table and you want to exclaim agreement. What do you usually do?
Say, hell yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right, give me an example of what it might sound like to you. Somebody says something you absolutely in agreement with. What does it sound like for you?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So maybe, if your favorite politician, if you have one, is speaking, you might, or somebody you just like more of what they say than not, right? What do you usually say when they're speaking? Or what do you do when they speak and you hear something that you agree with and that you're glad they finally said, or somebody finally said? What do you usually do? Soul Center is often a very quiet place. So we're just going to go ahead and address that now. So get comfortable in your seat, wiggle your tush, your bottoms, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and stomp your feet a little bit. All right? Let me hear you clap your hands a little bit. Let me hear you shout and celebrate the light a little bit. Let me hear you wake up this morning a little bit. But that's what this day has been filled with, and that's what we should bring into our spiritual celebrations. And it's an opportunity for us. A lot of times we come together, some things are solemn and some things are to be looked at in a particular way. Often I like to shout and celebrate some of those solemn things. Maybe the people who want them solemn might give me a look, and I'll give them a look right back. And as was mentioned earlier, I just came back from a wonderful, incredible, truly life-transforming trip to Egypt with the Agape International Spiritual Center. Three of my teachers, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, Akili Beckwith, and Reverend Cheryl Ward. And they literally took us into the ground of Egypt. So one of the amazing things that we did was to go into the Great Pyramid of Giza. Into it. Within a special select group where nobody else was there.
Wow.
And we walked all the way down to the bottom.
Wow.
Now, that may not be exactly what happened. Because it's not really walking space. Anybody ever done this exercise? I know one person went with Agape that's here. A couple of people. Oh, and one of my fellow travelers, Kathleen, is here. So Kathleen knows exactly what I'm talking about. So Kathleen and I, and the others of us who were able to do this, crawled down at about this size, for about 300 feet, which is nearly a football field, down at an angle. So it's not straight down at an angle. Guys the size of John were doing this. A woman who's amazing, who had been in a couple of car accidents. So she could walk, but she wasn't steady. She did it.
Wow.
Some of us didn't. And all of that is a part of our path. All of it was. The moment where we were about what I imagined or hoped was halfway. Because it's dark. There's no light inside this place. These places are spiritually designed. Remember, whatever you think about the pyramids, and they talk about the magnificent wonders of the world, this one they cannot reproduce. No matter what science they try to apply to it, these people were able to do something that modern humanity cannot reproduce. And they really can only try to help us understand where they got 3-ton stones from, a mountain. They have these mountains down the Nile and then across. And then there's this lie that many of us have been sold that it was done by slaves. This is high engineering of metaphysical, powerful spiritual work. And yet, it's presented to us in this very, very, very benign way. To take away all of the mystery, to take away all of the power that they've done to countries and civilizations of power all along. And so, we're walking our path and taking this journey, and we're having awakenings along the way. So today's topic, I guess I might as well share it with you, is walking your path, awakening to truth and reality. So we're crawling down places, we're taking cruises down the Nile, we're doing all of this amazing stuff. And our lives are being transformed. And today, the same thing is happening to me. Today I decided I'm going to take a trip, borrowed a friend's car. He let me use the electric car, so I'm driving. Had a whole plan laid out that just didn't seem to go well. I need to get to Soul Center. And so the plan was, you got a whole block of time between Agape's meditation, getting here, get it all set up, get it lined up. Why not drive ahead in case there's traffic and, get there and you have a little buffer time to find a charging station, and then you relax and maybe you get a little tea, maybe some juice, or not. Because every single place that I tried to find, the first, charging location was at the mall. But where at the mall? Because malls are not exactly small places. And the navigation was just not my friend. Because a good friend is going to give you detailed directions. And this was it's like saying, Soul Center's in Orange County. Because that's about how big the mall is compared to these small charging stations. But they're easy to find, right? No. So round 2, where's this place? This one's out of order. But there's no mark, or it doesn't tell you. So my journey this morning, then we get to the third one, it's going. But at that point, it's time for Reverend Jeff to do meditation. Soul Center's already taken care of. But the biggest thing for me is what's happening on the inside of Jason.
Yeah.
Is there a trust in what's going on today? Is there what am I learning as I'm going through it? How am I being with myself while all of this stuff is happening and while all this stuff is going on? And whatever happened to me in Egypt is really stayed with me.
Oh, good.
So look, in Egypt, Reverend Michael had a joke. And he said, by the time we left Egypt, his bags had cancer. Now, that sounds a little weird, but we put our bags through security screenings at least 50 times in 2 weeks. Every time we went in and out of a hotel, every time we took a plane, maybe even, we had an airport that was literally twice, the lobby was twice as big as this room. And we did a security screening to get into the room. We did a security screening to get out to the plane. So over and over and over again, we're just going through there. And they're taking great care of us. Be clear, the Egyptian people need us. The Egyptian people love us. The number one thing in Egypt for their economy is tourism. And the one thing America won't say right now is go back to Egypt. What I'm telling you and what Agape is telling you as a community is we can go to this place and let these people know that America cares about them because we're not caught up in the bureaucracy, that we love them, that we have resources, that we can circulate, that yes, we go shopping, but really it's not that. There's so much more that happens when I'm having a conversation and I'm interacting with a man or a woman or a child and having them have an opportunity for whatever. Yes, maybe it is their school fees. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is money for food. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is for greater wealth or circulation. But whatever it is, I have more than enough, and the world has more than enough to circulate it through every nation to wipe out all of these limiting ideas.
That's right.
Yeah. So with that, I continue my journey, and what happens to me at the last airport is the best or worst, depending on how you see it. So it's the last day, and literally we're on our way to Turkey, to Istanbul, and on our way back to America. And so I'm grabbing my bags. We're headed to the airport. My buddy's grabbing our bags. One person says, you need your itinerary to get through security, even with your passport. I said, oh. I haven't seen that since the first day we got here. It's in my bag, but really now, after I did such a great job of packing, you want me to go get it? Okay, so I'm in here, in and out of the bag, pull out stuff, and then I'm at the thing, and I'm tossing my stuff on, and I don't have it, but I hand it to him, and he opens it and looks at my Turkish visa, and I guess that was enough, or he was pretending to read. I don't care, but he let me through. So I go to the other side. My travel buddy Willard and I is like my best friend. We had the best time together. And he's an older guy, a little heavier, and so he's putting his things. So I start helping him. So then we end up at the line, and somebody's like, where's your luggage? I was like, I left it over here. So I go and I grab a bag, but my other bag is missing. Exactly. But that's not what happened. I never had that feeling. And it was so foreign not to. It was the strangest thing for me to be on this amazing journey and to absolutely be clear that no one had stolen my bag, that it was not lost, and that it was there. Now, for 20 minutes, I get to have this journey, right? I get to walk this path and have this experience. Now, the thing about it is, going on this trip, I forgot to mention, the second day on the trip, I lost my phone. So like all of this stuff that I've been dealing with on this trip has brought me inward. So I wasn't sending text messages to anybody. Plenty of people saw what was going on with me because I was like, Beth's taking pictures, Cindy's taking pictures, Sharon is uploading left and right, so I know she's got us covered. So anybody that wants to know if I'm alive, They can see our Facebook. It's just not me posting. And it was a really powerful experience for me because I had to let go of all of that in order to really be there. To really be there with the people of Egypt, to really be there with my traveling companions, to really be there with myself and my soul and what's unfolding and what's transforming within me. And I needed it. So I back to the airport, moving around, grabbing luggage, looking. So now I'm just walking up and down. So people are like, what's going on with Jason? Kathleen, do you remember this? You didn't even see this? But Stanley and Schmin were like, what's going on? I was like, I can't find my bag. So I'm just like walking around. It's like, yep, no, that's not my bag. No. So maybe somebody grabbed it. Nope, that's not my bag. Nope. Just walking around. Now we're in Egypt. And we've gone through security easily 50 times in 2 weeks, at least. And the guys that are taking care of us ask, what are you looking for? And they start looking for it. And I was like, well, maybe it's outside. And they're like, no, there's no way it's outside. I look outside of the screening area where I was zipping and unzipping my bag. There's nobody there but my bag in its lovely self. I wouldn't even allow myself to get upset with the fact that they weren't concerned about a bag that had been sitting there by itself for 20 minutes. I don't have time for that. I've said it a few times, but I could give no energy to it. It was just like, oh, there it is. Because that's how life really is. I could have lost the bag. But the presence and the wherewithal that I had today driving a new car that I'm not familiar with and having a new adventure, even best laid plans and them not unfolding, that there is a certain sense of wellness, of provision, of abundance, of all is well, of goodness that I rest in now that I never had before. And it felt like being in a new suit. It felt soft and it felt different. And it's still something that I'm acclimating to. And so what I realize is I'm having these awakenings all the time. We all are. But the thing that we don't do is really walk our path. So often when we're on this human journey, a lot of what we are doing has absolutely nothing to do with walking our path. So we have commitments, things that we've said are important. We have set aside goals, things that we've said are important. But many of us have never taken the moment to just stop and say, what is my path? My destiny, my journey, my calling, my purpose. Any of these things suffice. What is my reason for being in the world? We have to recognize that there is a moment when we have to get out of the intellectual journey that is life and recognize that we must ask the existential question, because this is not all there is. Now, if you're a person who subscribes to the idea that all there is the physical and material world, I've got nothing else for you. I'm going to continue talking and continue doing what I do, but at that point, there's not much for us to discuss. But if you're a person that recognizes that there's more to the world than flesh and bone, than steel and iron, than coins and cash, then you must also be a person that has to decide that they're going to ask the existential question. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Why do I have this relationship? Why are we connected? Why did this happen? Now, why can also be a trick. So let's take that out and shift it into the what. What is my purpose? What is my destiny? What is the reason for my relationship? What? Because sometimes the why can be a little whiny.
Yes.
Because all we want to know is why.
Yes.
That's the other stuff, right? We do. We want to know why it happened to us. My friend right now wants to know why their 5-year-old cousin drowned yesterday.
Oh my God.
She wants to know. She's 16 years old. She wants to know.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to know why they're bombing children.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody else wants to know why lupus, or cancer, or AIDS.
Right.
Somebody else wants to know why I was born into this impoverished household,
Right.
or why my mother beats me,
Right.
or my father has never met me.
Right.
We always have these whys. But if I get rid of every one of those whys and fully accept any of those principles, that my cousin has died, so what is in this for me? Because it's not Paul's cousin, or Nico's cousin, or Tanya's cousin. It's my cousin. So what is in this for me? Because this is a part of my path.
Right.
It's in it. You cannot get rid of that.
Right.
You must embrace it.
Yes.
The most difficult thing for us to do is to stop resisting what actually is.
Yeah.
We are so opposed to sometimes just, let's do teens and sex. What is so difficult about accepting the reality that your teenagers are going to have the same impulses that you have? You do still have those impulses, right? And maybe you're better at managing them, we hope, than when you were 16 or 14 or 13 or 12. Because the child psychologist will tell you that even at 6 and 5, their sexuality exists. Just not in the way that it does for a mature adult. But we just refuse to acknowledge the reality that our children will have sex. Or even our parents, because some of us don't want to imagine that. But it's true. Are you clapping, Jessica? That's how you got here, sister. That's how you got here. And so all of this is happening. But look, we haven't managed our money well. Can we accept the fact that we have not managed our finances well, that we have to make some more tight decisions and different things, and recognize at the same time that there's an abundant universe that there's here, that there's always more than enough, that there is always plenty.
Right.
These things are done simultaneously. You exist on multiple levels. You are a metaphysical being. You are metaphysicians, whether you acknowledge it or not, because if you have ever prayed for anything and got an answer, anybody?
Yes.
Then you are a metaphysician, because you have accessed something that is beyond the physical world, and you've leaned into it and you've held on to it. So you don't need a license. You do need a practice.
Yes.
That's it. I see some of y'all want to stomp. What you hold back for? But that's the thing, right? So look, there are two things that people really get confused. Truth and reality. Then I'm going to go sit down. Now I'm talking like a grandfather, because my grandfather's a Baptist preacher, and if you've ever been to a Baptist church, you know they have at least 3 closings. So I'm almost finished, and then I might finish and huff and puff a little bit. But that was my grandfather, blessing Bishop J.W. Wright. So the energy is reality and truth. Truth is something that never changes. Be very clear about this. There is only one kind of truth. Everything else is an opinion. Everything else is an experience. It could be an illusion, it could be a lie. But there are some things that are always true. Here are a couple. God. Just start with that one.
Yes.
Source, substance, and creator. There was nothing before it or after it. It is always, it has been, it always was. It is eternal. The only reason we do time is because we've decided that it helps us to calculate things by how many times we go around the sun or how many times our planet spins, but otherwise it doesn't exist. You do not gauge things by the way the marbles in the jar roll around by calculating things. All that is the universe is a big jar of marbles rolling all around and saying that that is what time is. Time doesn't exist. So you are literally as young as you feel. I mean, if I was you, I would stop using the sun and I might use Saturn. You know, because that's 17 years before it comes back around. And you know, you might as well be 3. You know, be 4 if you want to. Whatever works for you. Another thing that is absolutely true is that everything works together for good. Now that's a phrase that comes out of the Bible. But what it's basically expressing is that goodness. Everything is goodness.
Yes.
Everything is goodness. So yes, Syria, Afghanistan, 9/11, torture, abuse, children, all of that somewhere, and then let's go all the way to the one that that is also most difficult to talk about is slavery.
Yes.
The entire world, let's hypothesize what the world would be like without slavery. Just imagine how disconnected it would be. Because America would never have been what it would, the UK would never have been what it would, and the world would not have, here's the thing that the whole world got in this particular quantum experience. It got the African people. And the world would not have had the African people in the way that they did, the way that they do now, without it. It could have happened a different way. Humanity could have done something different. And every time we go to a funeral, we always say, we shouldn't wait till we get to a funeral to have these moments of reconnecting. And yet that's what it does. Because there are moments that the universe knows that it must strike into existence, that must happen to catapult us and to wake us up. Because when we are awakened by events, by sounds, by bumps in the night, Kato Kalin, whatever, all of these little things transform us. They wake us up.
Yes.
All of us know somebody that's sleepwalking.
Yes.
Yeah, come on. It's happening. And so it's not pretty. But pretty and truth don't have anything to do with each other. Because sometimes the truth that this had to happen is not pretty.
Right.
Let's go.
Because the thing that needs to be recognized is that means we have to look at ourselves and say something ugly had to happen in order to wake us up.
Yes.
And that's okay. See, the thing is, that still has to be okay. That still has to be okay. Because it's actually happening. Because that's what actually happens. You have to at some point accept it and just be okay with it. It's not the end. It's never the end. Why? Because we're still here. It's always a new beginning. It's never an ending. You may stop talking about it. There may be scripts and postscripts written. No matter how many times you go in and out of the hospital, no matter how many times you lose a job, no matter how many times somebody quits. I read something on a social media post yesterday. One woman quit a very successful blog to become more inspirational blog, from a gossip blog to an inspirational blog, and maybe she fell on her face, she's broke, she's about to move back in with her auntie. You know, like financially unsuccessful. She's not a failure.
Correct.
She has had this situation that has failed. This did not work. This same thing that she's working on can work because it's not done, because she's not done.
Right.
So the guy in the thread that called her a failure, I was like, excuse me? Exactly why is she a failure? if she's still living, breathing, working on her dream or her goals or her vision, she's still successful. And I don't mean I'm not trying to color it in and make it all shiny. She's still successful. Every time you're in it, you're a success.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. So let's get that, right? So those things are truths. Now let's talk about reality really quick.